meeting to order. Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay. All right, any correspondence tonight?
Yes. Which ones? I don't have Pam's. Okay. Yeah, but that's not correspondence.
The correspondence for the hearings, we'll read at the hearings.
We'll do those later, right?
Yes, we'll do those for each hearing.
Okay, that's the only thing we had.
All right, so we're going to set some public hearings. We'll start with the waterways application, Meg.
All right, starting with Kirby Wilcox.
Yes.
Whereas Kirby Wilcox, 4 Conrad Road, has petitioned the town of Shelter Island for permission to install a stake mooring and pulley system at location designated as latitude 41.05628 degrees north and longitude 72.34215 west. Now therefore be it resolved that pursuant to section 90-5 of the Town Code of the Town of Shelter Island, a public hearing will be held at 6:12 p.m. prevailing time on the 27th day of September 2022 for all interested persons to be heard in favor of or in opposition to the proposed installation. So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Be resolved, resolution number 395-2022 is hereby amended to read as follows. Whereas Kathleen Riley has met the civil service requirements for provisional office assistant in the building department, and now therefore be it resolved that Kathleen Riley is hereby appointed as provisional office assistant in the building department retroactive May 24th, 2022. So moved.
Second, all those in favor?
Aye.
Whereas the town of Shelter Island has received 3 generous donations from the Shelter Island Ambulance Foundation, Inc., in the amount of $22,460.25, $1,950, and $896.44. Now therefore be it resolved that said fund shall be credited to the accounts as follows. $22,460 to A 4540.4851, $950,000 to A 4540.478, and $896.44 to A 4540.478. So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Be it resolved that the supervisor is hereby authorized and directed to expend the sum of $44,316 from the A 1010.484 Town Board Office Miscellaneous account to Glen Falls National Bank and Trust Company at Penflex Actuarial Services, LLC, 50 Century Hill Drive, Suite 3, Latham, New York, for the preparation of the GASB 73 package for the LoSAP program for the volunteer ambulance for the fiscal year ending December 31st, 2022. So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Whereas Carol Karasek was awarded a conditional rebate of up to $6,000 by the Water Quality Improvement Advisory Board, and whereas the Water Quality Advisory Board has amended said $6,000 to be $8,000, now therefore be it resolved that resolution number 158-2021 is hereby amended to state that the WQIAB approves that applicant for a conditional rebate of up to $8,000 in eligible costs upon completion of the project and subject to the applicant's compliance with and completion of all terms and conditions of the conditional rebate, and be it further resolved that a copy of this resolution shall be given to the Water Quality Improvement Advisory Board and the Building Department. So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Whereas the New York State Department of Health and Environmental Facilities Corporation, EFC, provides partial funding for sewer and water infrastructure through the Water Infrastructure Improvement Act, WIIA, and whereas the West Neck Water District Improvements Project consists of Project 1, water main replacement, and Project 2, electrical upgrades of pump station and new well, and whereas pursuant to its agreement with the Suffolk County Water Authority, SCWA, the town intends to complete construction of the West Neck Water District Improvements Project. And whereas the maximum cost of said project is anticipated to be approximately $2,250,927. And whereas the WIIA program provides grant funding in the amount of 60% of the net eligible project costs. And whereas the WIIA program defines net eligible project costs as by subtracting awarded grant funds from the total estimated project cost figure. And whereas the town would benefit from funding available through this WIIA program to provide up to 60% of the net eligible project costs for the planned infrastructure improvements. And whereas the town will finance non-grant supported costs via system user fees pursuant to its management agreement with the Suffolk County Water Authority. And whereas the WIIA program may adjust its award should other grant funding be awarded in accordance with its definition of net eligible project cost. Now therefore, be it resolved that the town is hereby authorized to submit a funding application for WIIA funding in support of the West Neck Water District Improvements Project for a maximum amount of $1,350,556. And be it resolved that the town pursuant to the management agreement with Suffolk County Water Authority is committed to redesign and construct the West Neck Water District Improvements Project. And resolve that the West Neck Water District Improvements Project is a Type 2 activity under the New York State Environmental Quality Review Act, and resolved that the supervisor or his designee is hereby authorized to sign any required funding agreements with EFC and any associated documents required for the grant application. So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
This next resolution is an effort to bring the town's ADA compliance form up to snuff, and we're looking at the police headquarters. Whereas the town of Shelter Island has requested proposals for the Shelter Island Police Department Accessibility Enhancement Project, and whereas Possible and Brown Architects have presented their proposals for the total estimated amount of $46,550, whereas the town board accepts said proposal. Now therefore be it resolved that the town board does hereby award the proposal for the Shelter Island Police Department Accessibility Enhancement Project to Possible and Brown Architects for the total amount of $46,550. So this,
That's it.
okay, so moved.
Second, all those in favor?
Aye.
Okay, the next one is a notice of public hearing to consider a local law to amend Town Code Chapter 133 entitled Zoning to extend the period of expiration of variances and special permits from 1 year to 2. Resolved that the town board of the town of Shelter Island hereby directs that a public hearing shall be held on Friday, September 27th at 6:17 to hear any and all persons either for or against a local law entitled Local Law Amending Chapter 133 entitled Zoning to extend the period of expiration of variances and special permits from 1 year to 2 years, of which provides the following. Rather than read all that, I'm going to give you the summary of the proposed law. The purpose of this law is to address the practical difficulties facing residents who procure a variance or special permit and face the daunting task of procuring a building permit within a year, therefrom due to the delays outside of their control, stemming from professional service and governmental backlogs and more stringent regulations. A 2-year period of expiration would serve to ameliorate such a circumstance and alleviate the necessity of seeking an extension form from the Zoning Board of Appeals. So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Whereas on August 8th and August 18th of 2022, the town engineer appeared in front of the Water Quality Improvement Projects Advisory Board to make an application for funding for the costs associated with the engineering and permitting of the proposed Center Municipal Wastewater Project. Whereas the proposed costs amount to $96,646 and would be payable to Lombardo Associates. And whereas WQI on August 18th voted 5-0 to recommend to the town board that said costs be funded from the Water Quality Improvements Fund. And whereas WQI issued a memo dated August 26, 2022, memorializing said recommendations and providing the reasoning thereof. Whereas prior to any expenditure of community preservation water quality improvement funds pursuant to section 50-33B, the town board must determine that the proposed project is consistent with the Community Preservation Fund Water Quality Project Plan. Whereas the town board shall make further certain certification findings pursuant to section 5-34, and now therefore be it resolved that the town clerk is hereby directed to schedule a public hearing for September 27, 2022, for the purpose of determining whether to utilize community preservation water quality improvement funds for the costs associated with the engineering and permitting of the proposed Central Municipal Wastewater Project. So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Whereas Crescent Beach LLC, care of Bennett and Reed LLP, 11 Serpentine Drive, has petitioned the town of Shelter Island for a wetlands and special permit to develop a new single-family residence, accessory pool, pool house, and related improvements. Now therefore be it resolved that pursuant to section 129-7 of the Code of the Town of Shelter Island, a public hearing will be held at 6:15 PM prevailing time on the 27th day of September, 2022, for all interested parties to be heard in favor of or in opposition to the proposed construction. So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Whereas Stanley Church, 52 Tut Hill Drive, has petitioned the town of Shelter Island for a wetlands permit to enclose existing porch area to be a living space. Now therefore be it resolved that pursuant to section 129-7 of the Code of the Town of Shelter Island, a public hearing will be held at 6:13 PM prevailing time on the 27th day of September, 2022, for all interested persons to be heard in favor of or in opposition to the proposed construction. So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye. Be it resolved, the supervisor is hereby authorized and directed to credit a check in the amount of $715.40 from the New York Municipal Insurance to the DA 5130.446 Highway Machinery Contractual Account. So moved.
Second, all those in favor?
Aye.
Whereas the town of Shelter Island has received a donation from the Menantic Peninsula Association in the amount of $250. Now therefore be it resolved that said donation is hereby credited to the Community Preservation Fund. So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
I think we missed.
We did. I was just going to say.
So be it resolved, that the supervisor is hereby authorized and directed to credit the sum of $75 to Carol Lovis for a refund of boat storage permit. So moved.
Second.
Those in favor?
Aye.
Should I just read all of these transfers? Instead of going back and forth? Okay.
Do we have different orders or
I
something?
don't have.
Yeah, I don't have that either.
Oh, I do.
I do.
Okay, so I'm just going to read all these,
Okay, go for
Okay,
it.
what are you doing?
all these following accounts and, you know.
They were available. You don't have to just,
Huh?
I mean, reading what you're doing, but then the following,
Be resolved that the supervisor is hereby authorized and directed to credit a check from the Shelter Island UFSD in the amount of $348.51 to following accounts: $330.65 to DA 5130.441 and $1786 to DB 5110.441. Be it resolved. Should I? Yeah, I got to do separate. Yeah, so moved.
So second.
all those in favor?
Aye.
So Meg.
Be it resolved that the supervisor is hereby authorized and directed to credit the reimbursement check from the Shelter Island Chamber of Commerce in the amount of $424.15 to the Community Preservation Fund for map printing. So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Be it resolved, the supervisor is hereby authorized and directed to credit a check from the Shelter Island Fire Department in the amount of $855.59 into the following accounts: $745.30 to the DA 5130.441 and $110.29 to the DB 5110.441 account. So moved.
Second, all those in favor?
Aye.
This was the one I thought you would
Aye.
read, BJ.
Oh, okay.
Be it resolved that the following budget transfers are hereby approved, and there's a list of a dozen transfers that are available in the clerk's office.
Okay.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Be it resolved that the supervisor is hereby authorized and directed to expend the sum of $2,500 from the A 3120.491 account to All Traffic Solutions, Inc., 14201 Sully Field Circle, Suite 300, Chantilly, Virginia, for the annual maintenance for the traffic sign. So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Be it resolved that 2022 general claims number 1287 through 1409 in the amount of $160,846.69 and 2022 highway claims number 142 through 159 in the amount of $221,458.21 are hereby approved for payment as audited, and the supervisor or any town board member is hereby authorized and directed to sign the approval for payment of the same. So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay, at this time, we're going to recess the public hearing and recess the public meeting and open the hearing on the Labrosi Waterways application. Dot?
The application of Mark Labrosi, 9A Baldwin Road, to install a stake mooring and pulley system in Cockles Harbor designated as latitude 41.0884 degrees north and longitude 72.3237 degrees west.
The WMAC met by a vote of 6-0, approved that with these new coordinates, and these new coordinates are absolutely correct.
Okay, any comments, questions?
Jim, is there a forfeiture of a mooring?
Yeah, I coordinated that.
Okay, good.
I sent it to Amber. Yeah, he forfeited that other mooring.
Right.
I've got the exact name of it, but the W3111 or something like that,
Yeah.
13 maybe. But Amber has it, and she
And
knows.
so that's been
she knows
done.
about- That's been done.
Great, thank you.
Okay, so we're going to close that hearing and open the hearing on the Slotterbeck Waterways application.
Oh, what about Sewell?
This one?
No,
I'm not going to act on that.
no.
right, Bob.
It was
On the
tabled.
application of Oscar Slotterbeck and Caroline Ritter, 43 Winthrop Road, to construct a fixed timber dock consisting of a 4-foot by 98-foot fixed catwalk, 9 elevated a minimum of 4 feet above grade of marsh, and construct with open grade decking with 92 3-foot by 6-foot access steps, and a 6-foot by 20-foot float secured by 4 10-inch diameter piles and chopped to maintain 2 feet elevation above bottom.
Okay, the Waterways hasn't,
It's
met on
tabled.
this?
Yeah, September, it's going to the September meeting. They talked to Mr. Herman, and I think you explained it before
Yeah.
why that was done.
Yeah, it's a new design, a slightly new design for the dock, so they just want to have a little more time to consider it, so we'll adjourn this?
We'll adjourn that,
Yep.
yes. Okay, and
By the way, that mooring that was forfeited was W3113.
Thank you. Nice.
okay, so we're going to adjourn that hearing and open the hearing on the
Well, make a motion and to adjourn, you have to make a motion.
motion.
Yes.
Make a motion, we
I'll second that.
adjourn.
I'll second that motion.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay, now we're going to have a public hearing on the Seoul Waterways application. Dot?
The application of Stephen Soul, 4 Robin Lane, to install a mooring in Smith Cove at a location designated as latitude 41.05068 degrees north and longitude 72.31626 degrees west.
Yes, we met on our August meeting by a vote of 6-0 with the new coordinates, and the new coordinates that you just read, Dot, are 100% correct. They approved.
Okay, any comments on this one?
I have a question.
Go ahead.
We were provided with a sales agreement. Did we ever get anything that showed that the sales agreement like closed and we have some, like bill of
The two
sale?
brothers?
No, this is different.
This is different.
This is,
Yeah, we don't have a registration.
Yeah, 'cause our-
Amber, did you get a registration? Amber Wilson?
Let me pull the file right now.
Checking.
Thank you.
okay.
Yeah, just because our town code, it has to be like a current boat registration or or some sort of proof of ownership.
Bill of sale would do, but,
Yeah,
right, but not,
Yes. Mhm. But this is stated as a purchase agreement.
Well, we should have a registration number if there is one available, because it.
Are we confusing this with the Wilcox?
No, we're not.
No, okay,
Nope.
all right, okay. Because we had that problem with Wilcox.
That's why that's adjourned. Or Vinnie?
I have the purchase agreement for Soul.
Yeah, that was what that's what we got provided with, but that doesn't.
Nothing else further than that.
Okay, so we'll adjourn that?
Yes.
So we need the registration?
Boat registration or proof of ownership.
Okay,
Yeah, there's no hurry on these because we're at the end of the year, so.
okay, so I'm going to make a motion, we adjourn that one.
Second.
All those in favor?
aye.
Now we're going to, it says 6:20. We just made it. Public hearing on the Daraviras and Brienza Wetlands application. Dot?
The application of Nicholas Daraviras and Jill Brians under 3 Oak Tree Lane for a wetlands permit to remove existing dwelling, decks, pool, patio, accessory buildings, and septic remove existing construction from vegetative buffer, construct new dwelling, pool, deck, accessory buildings, and IA septic with PSD leaching, all new work to be outside vegetative buffer.
Okay, report from the CAC?
There were 7 recommendations on this particular application. First recommendation was all construction to be 5 feet outside the vegetative buffer line to allow for construction work. I think for the most part, when you look at this construction, most all of it is, there might have been one slight eave or something over the corner of the roof. Number 2, all construction vehicles, this is one is probably the most important, especially in this area of getting out to Shell Beach. All construction vehicles must be parked and located on the property. No vehicles on Oak Tree Lane or Peconic Avenue, because there's a turn in the road right there. So the delivery of construction material must be coordinated. Recommended using the northwest corner for vehicle parking close to Peconic Avenue, which is the last area that will be constructed. So it makes sense that that would be the area. Number 3, no dewatering permitted. That's either for the building, for the house, or any accessory buildings, or for the pool. 4, provide automatic pool cover. 5, well pump to a maximum of 5 gallons per minute, which Matt agreed would be a good thing. Number 6, recommend replacement of the wooden bulkhead area to match the adjacent bulkhead. So in other words, I think most of the bulkhead to the north and south of that area had been already replaced. There might be an area towards the middle of that bulkhead that still has the old wooden bulkhead part. And since they were doing all this construction, it was just a recommendation that they do this now rather than wait for everything to kind of be built and then have to do it. And number 7, lastly, utilize environmentally friendly materials for all construction. Follow the LEED, which is the Leadership in Energy and Environmental Design recommended practices. And by a vote of 5-0 with those 7 recommendations, it was approved.
Maybe answer that question. Scott, you have correspondence for this one?
Let's see, we'll check here.
We can read it.
Sure. Yeah, I'll do it. Okay, so this was correspondence.
Okay.
Oh, you ready? Want to go?
Go ahead,
Okay. I'd gladly turn it over to you.
whatever you want.
So this came from Pam Demarest. So her questions and comments were: the denial letter from building inspector says for wetlands permit, no mention is made of special permit for over 6,000 SFLA. Please clarify. SFLA on drawings posted is not clear. How was SFLA calculated and for which building and which floor within the buildings? One drawing says 5985 square feet, another says 7945 square feet, another says 6689 square feet. If you add up what is on the drawings. Clarify artist studio above garage. Is this a secondary accessory structure? What does this entail? Suffolk County Health Department and drawing notes this is a bedroom for septic system size, but lists no sleeping. Is there a full bathroom? How does the town enforce no sleeping in a secondary accessory structure? Summaries need to clarify if a special permit is or is not required and SFLA. And then the SEAF, short
environmental assessment form.
Declaration by the town needs publication prior to the public hearing in accordance with SECRA. So just, those are out there.
Yeah, I think Matt was probably, he's present and he will be prepared to discuss most of those.
Yeah, but that's why I read it before. So.
Yeah. Matt, we're ready when you are.
Planning board?
Yeah, I was going to say that.
Oh, I'm sorry, thanks.
So I have that. So, basic, no dewatering for the pool. If dewatering is necessary for the footings, they make a recommendation that the dry wells are installed first and you dewater into the dry wells. Recommend no fertilizer used on the property. And then their summary is that the application states several mitigation measures, including installation of a wired back silt fence to control runoff during construction, removal of the antiquated septic system and installation of an IUWTS and pressurized shallow drain field, removal of significant areas of turf and replacing with native vegetation, the installation of stormwater control and execution of a SWIP as part of the construction, mitigating well water draw with a variable speed pump, installation of a cistern for the pool and an automatic cover for the pool. The pool filter should be of the cartridge type. They recommend the choice of native plants and grasses that hopefully follow the CAC lists and are to work in tandem with the remaining swales as a good example of naturally reducing runoff and contributing rainwater to the aquifer. And the planning board believes the house and lot are similar to neighboring properties. The list of mitigating measures should limit the short and long environmental effects of construction and use, improving upon the existing conditions. With these considerations, the planning board recommends approval of the application.
Thank you. Matt Sherman with Sherman Engineering and Consulting. I'm here with Jill Brienta, who's one of the property owners. Nick Deraviras is her husband. He's on Zoom. Angela Bowman, who's the contractor, is also here this evening in the building. And we have landscape architects and their architects on Zoom. So if you guys have any questions, I've got a fairly quick, hopefully, presentation to show you, just kind of to go through the specifics of the project. And if you have anything that's you want more clarification on, more detail on, then we can, all of us are here to help answer some of those questions. Coco, can I get permission to share my screen?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. This, what's on your screen right now is the existing survey of the property. Everybody's very familiar with this property. It's the one as you go out Oak Tree Lane toward Silver Beach, toward Shell Beach. It's on your right-hand side. Jill actually grew up on the property across the street from here, so she's very, very familiar with the area, very familiar with the sensitive environmental conditions that are out there. Right now, you've got, on this survey, you can see that Oak Tree Lane runs basically through the middle of the drawing. This is the existing house, the existing pool, and then there's I call it a shed. It's labeled as a garage on the survey. It's really more of a large shed. And then you've got Shelter Island Sound, a bulkhead, and then Shelter Island Sound to the south. This is the actual drawing that was submitted as part of the wetlands permit application, and this is the one that we're going to be asking the town to reference in their approval. It's from July 12th, 2022, and what it has is a couple of key components. And actually, one of these things is going to touch on one of the comments that Ms. Demarest had on the application. There's two site plans on here. The site plan on the top part of the drawing is an overlay, existing survey with the proposed work on top of it. It's a little hard to tell on the screen because the existing work I put on a light gray dotted line so you can see it, but it wasn't, it isn't the focal point of the application. The project, the drawing to the south, the site plan to the south, is the storm drain calculations and how we came up with what we were designing for stormwater calculations. The lower right-hand side is the square footages. And one of the square footages that Ms. Demarest had referenced as square foot living area is actually the roof square footages that she got, I believe, from this drawing. What we do, we don't use a square foot living when we're calculating for storm drainage. Obviously, we're using the roof. The roofs are going to be much larger than square foot living area. For this project, what we did was we designed for a 4-inch rainfall. Code requires we design for a 2-inch rainfall. So we're capturing twice the amount of stormwater that we need to for code to meet code compliance. So that's what that thing on the lower right-hand side is. In the upper right-hand corner is something that I hadn't put on any of my applications before, but because of the sensitive nature of this site and our concern about depth of groundwater for the swimming pool, for the buildings, for the sanitary system, for the stormwater drainage, we put what we call a groundwater monitoring port on the property, and we put a data logger and watched it over the course of just over a month and a half or so. So that's just over a month on that. And that jagged line that you're seeing there, that's your depth of groundwater going up and down over the course of May 2nd to June 6th of this year. We had a absolute bottom of -1 foot below sea level. we had a top elevation of 2 feet above sea level. These couple of these spikes, let me see if I can zoom into it. Yeah, a couple of these spikes here come right up to that 2-foot mark. The vast majority of them are much lower than that 2-foot mark. So what we did was we used that 2 foot to say that's our highest expected groundwater. And we based all of our designs on that highest expected groundwater. So this is just a cleaned up version of the survey just to help see, visualize what's there. This is the existing house. That shed/garage. There's an existing in-ground pool with a couple of buildings on either side of some pavers here on the west side of the swimming pool. The existing septic is on the road side of the house right here. And then the existing well is right up here in that far northwest corner. Basically, we put the well in as far landward as we could possibly get it. Zoning setbacks. The red line parallel to Oak Tree Lane is the 40-foot front yard setback. We're in A zone. On the left-hand side, we've got a 20-foot wide, 20-foot setback, which would be for the swimming pool, those sheds and those buildings for the swimming pool and for the swimming pool itself. And then just inside of that is a 25-foot side yard setback, which it doesn't really come into play here, but for the proposed plan, you'll see that's for the mechanical equipment, emergency generator, pool equipment, things along those lines. Why we're here tonight is we've got these lines here are our wetlands lines. So this first one, closest to Shelter Island Sound, is a 75-foot setback. The one just to the north of it is the 100-foot setback. We also have wetlands up off of West Neck Harbor that just come down and nick that top northwest corner of the or northeast corner, excuse me, of the property.
So,
Do you have a question?
no.
No, okay. Also on, because this is a little bit of a complicated site, we've also got flood zone considerations we had to take into account. So that dark line, cursor on this thing, that dark line that runs right through the middle of the property. On the left-hand side is an X zone, meaning we can pretty much do what we want. On the left-hand side of that is a flood zone with an inundation flood of 1 foot. That's important, and that was factored into the architect's design of the building, which we'll get into just a second, as well as my design of the new sanitary system, which we'll get into in just a second as well. So that's the proposed construction on top of the existing construction. You'll be able to see that a little bit better here in just a second. All right, so this is the proposed site plan. Right now, you guys, I'm sure, are all familiar with the site. Recently, and as long back as I can remember, it's all turf grass. So you'll see the landscape architect's plans here in just a second as well, which shows that we're going from all turf grass on the site to within the regulated area to almost a 2-for-1, 2 square feet of native vegetation, wetlands vegetation, and appropriate adjacent area vegetation for every 1 square foot of turf area. So we're having a significant improvement on the.
Could you just go back to the previous one second?
Yeah.
Okay, thanks.
Did you want me to put something specific?
No, I just think everything's coming out of the 75-foot.
Yeah, exactly. And we'll show that in just a second.
Everything does come out.
Yeah, everything's out, yeah. So this is a close-up of that stormwater plan. I'm not going to belabor the details on it, but basically we took all the corners. You'll see the roofs are on a pitch. So we took the lower corners, brought them out to the storm drains. These are all, most of them are 4-foot deep dry wells, with the exception of the garage where we had a little bit extra depth. We put in 6-foot deep dry wells for the garage. There's a lot of them because we're capturing so much stormwater. It's again twice as much as what we really needed to design for. This is your site plan showing the silt fence that we're basically running down that westerly property line, and then for all intents and purposes just along the bulkhead. So we're encompassing the entire site with storm drain with overland flow protection with that wire back silt fence. This is the landscape architect's plan. Gives you a little bit of better view. That light green area is where we're talking about turf grass. The grays are native vegetation plantings. The planning board's comment asking that we were going to be coordinating with the CAC's list of recommended native plantings. Everything on this site is coming from, everything within the regulated area is coming from the the CAC's plan, list of plantings for that regulated area. Right now, we've got just under 2,000 square feet of construction. That's those red areas within that 75-foot setback. So it's 1,960 square feet of existing structure. That's pool patio, portions of the existing house, walkway, decks, things along those lines are within that area now. Those are coming out, so we will have 0 within that area when the project gets completed. This is that 2-to-1 ratio I was talking about of native vegetation versus turf grass. We're at 20,718 square feet of native vegetation from the CAC's list. And then we're at just over 11,000 square feet, 11,118 square feet of turf grass. That turf grass that we're going to be looking to put in is going to be a native fescue. So it's very low water, low maintenance, no fertilizers, things along those lines. Here's our floor plans. We've got it basically, because of the building envelope that we had to extend these buildings out a little bit. So on the far left-hand side, you've got a 2-story garage. On the first floor, there's a garage bay facing north, and then there's what we're calling a garage bay facing south. It's really more of a storage bay. So the vehicles would be parking in the north one, and then boats, kayaks, toys, things like that would be in the south one. There's a half a bath in the garage, no shower on that first floor. As you come over to the right-hand side, we've got what we're calling the pool house or the accessory structure that's got sleeping in it. On the first floor, there is a pool house area, like a lounge area, and 2 bedrooms. So it complies with the town's accessory sleeping structure code. There is 2 full bathrooms in that building, on that floor. As you go over to the right-hand side, that's the principal dwelling. That piece in the middle is living room, dining room, kitchen. There's a half bath in that area. As you extend over to the right-hand side, we've got 3 bedrooms with bathrooms on that first floor. This is the basement underneath the pool house. The flood zone comes into play here because this is outside of the flood zone. So we're able to put a full basement. There is a bathroom in there and a washer and dryer. There's an unfinished basement area that when we originally went to the health department, we were looking to have this be a playroom or a family room or something to that effect. That again touches on what Pam was saying about the differences in square foot areas. We reduced this building by just about 1,000 square foot living area by turning that unfinished basement, that what was a finished basement area, into an unfinished basement area.
Why keep a bath there?
For the swimming pool, for the pool.
Upstairs?
Yeah, but we could put it upstairs, we could put it downstairs, it's convenience.
But there's 2 bathrooms upstairs, right? Yeah, okay.
So going to the upstairs, you've got, the bathroom, 1 main in the middle of the building, and then 1 that's inside one of the bedrooms.
Yeah.
It's all about convenience.
Yeah.
That's what it comes down to. Okay, this is the close-up of that pool house where you've got the lounge and 2 bedrooms and the bathrooms. Crawl space underneath the main part of the house. Again, this is inside the flood zone, so we can't put anything in that basement. First floor, you've got the entry, living room, the kitchen. Crawl space underneath the second part of the main house. And then this is the first floor of that second part. There's 3 bedrooms, each with its own integrated bathroom. And then a small den, which with the health department would refer to it as a family room, a den, a home office, that kind of thing. And then this is the second floor of the main house on that far western wing. Eastern wing. We've got the main bedroom and basically a master suite, main bedroom and bathroom. For the garage, first floor, half a bath, again, more for convenience than anything else. And on the second floor, we've got a home office. So there's no shower. In working with the building department and with the town, by having just a half a bath upstairs, it's not counted as a bedroom. It's counted as a home office. You can use it for anything other than sleeping. The health department also explicitly does not allow sleeping in this building. It can only be used for home office or something to that effect.
So was it the den that got counted as the extra bedroom?
Yes. Yes. Yeah. So these are your elevations. On this drawing, you can see this, right there. That line there is the 2-foot elevation, which is highest expected groundwater. Our footings for the stairs, for decking, things like that, come down just about to that 2-foot mark. You'll see on these drawings are the bottom of that stairway going into that lower area is at about 3 foot, just about 3 foot 6 inches. So it's a foot to the bottom of the concrete, a foot above highest expected groundwater. The decking at the pool is at 10 foot 3 inches. Groundwater is at 2 feet, so we've got 8 feet to play with for the pool. Bring it up 2 feet above groundwater, which is a town code requirement. That brings us to 6 feet. So they just have to keep their pool at 6 feet or less. So it's really not too complex of an analysis there. These again, more just kind of giving you a feel for what the building is going to look like, how the footings relate to groundwater. These footings, these deck footings are 1.5 feet above groundwater, above, again, highest expected groundwater. Our square foot living area, this is how we calculated to show that we do comply with not having to need the requirement for a special permit. What's hatched in green on these is what we use to calculate the square foot living area. And basically it's the conditioned space that's inside of these buildings. And that brings us to a total of 5,985 square feet. So we are below what the 6,000 square foot limit is. And then this is just a study to show the elevations of the buildings. So you have a feel for it. The red line above all of those buildings on the top of that drawing is the 25-foot maximum building height allowed by town code. And we're significantly less than that for several portions, and we're acceptably less than it for others. That's what I've got as far as my presentation. If you have any questions.
Can you go back to the one that shows where the calculations are for the square footage? You can make it bigger.
Yep, you got it.
We got this.
You don't have that as part of yours, but I will, I'll provide it to you for the work session.
Thank you.
So basically everything inside the exterior wall of the second floor of the garage is square foot living area. The unfinished basement of the accessory sleeping building, everything that's conditioned, which is basically the bathroom and the small laundry closet. The main floor of that building, the entire floor with the boundaries, the interior surface. And then this is the main house first floor. Again, we just ran a line along the inside wall of the building. So everything inside there, that's a conditioned space. The only thing that gets excluded is here there's an elevator. So we've got an elevator shaft, which is excluded from the second floor because it's open to below and it's part of it's included in the first floor. So it'd be the same thing if you had a 2-story cathedral living room. You're not counting both floors of that 2-story cathedral living room. Same idea there. So that's for that, and then for the stairs. So anything that's a clear span above, we don't include as that additional double dipping on that square foot living area.
There's a deck on the left there of the elevator?
Can you see where my cursor is?
Yeah.
That's it right there. And then this here's a deck. Yes, exactly. Yeah.
Just getting a sense of how you live this. So the only laundry is in the basement of the pool house?
No, there's a couple laundries. You've got a laundry in the basement of the pool house. Back to something that's you've got a laundry here, like right in the middle of the drawing here, by the bedrooms, for the main house. We've got that laundry, then we've got the one in the pool house. on the first floor. Inside, when you come in, you got that lounge, and there's a washer and dryer here, and then the 2 guest bedrooms there. And then on the basement level, there's a washer and dryer there.
Can you show us on the plot plan? I'm just looking at the, this is the letter from
Planning board?
Planning Board,
Yes.
and it says additional details for the 1,000-gallon water tanker needed, and additional details are needed for the gunite cistern. So there's 2?
No, I'm not sure where the gunite cistern came from.
Okay.
But what we've got here in this upper right-hand corner, actually right in the middle of this page, 1,000-gallon potable water tank for topping off the swimming pool. All that is a 1,000-gallon septic tank. It's an 8-foot by 4-foot by 5-foot concrete vault. We put it right there in the middle by the driveway, so it's easy to get to with a water truck, and we'll be using that to top off the swimming pool. The pool's going to have an automatic cover on it anyway, so there's going to be fairly small amount of water lost to evaporation. That 1,000-gallon tank will probably have to be filled once during the summer. And that should handle all of the water uses requirements for topping off that swimming pool.
And I noticed there's no irrigation.
No irrigation. Right.
All right.
When you come off Peconic Avenue, there is no direct way from Peconic Avenue into the west side of the property. You would actually have to go down a little bit, Oak Tree Lane, just maybe 50 feet or 60 feet, something of that nature, before you could actually turn into the property, correct?
Yes.
Yeah, so I think people thought, that there was some type of magical opening between Peconic Avenue and the property. Now, you have to actually initially go into Oak Tree Lane, but for a very, very short distance.
And it's going to be
So the
tight.
last of the construction then would be, I would assume, would be the garage area. And that's where the vehicle parking is going to be on that side of the property, no?
That whole area there, between that northwest corner and basically where the septic is, and on this plan, the septic is right underneath where it says Oak Tree Lane.
Yeah.
That pressurized shallow drain field, we've got 2 rows of chambers that run parallel to Oak Tree Lane, right along there, and then there's our IA unit. So this whole area up here is available for equipment storage, vehicle storage, things along those lines. It's all of these sites are going to be difficult sites, so it's going to be a challenge to make sure they're not getting in their way, and they're staging things and ordering things correctly so that it's an efficiently run project. But that's where Ms. Bowman comes in. She's tasked with constructing this and doing it in an efficient way, and so she'll come up with a plan. She and I have already talked about some of the different ideas, and even before we discussed it, we were already on the same page as far as how to attack this, the access to this site.
Just based on the calendar, this being September, beginning of September, if all things went well, when would you best guess construction would start?
I would toss that to Angela.
We're thinking about the mic, please, just so people can hear you.
That's what I'm going to get myself up my screen.
And I'll see you, state your name for the record.
Angela Bowman with Pacific Construction.
Yes.
We're hoping that if 927 goes favorably, that we'd be able to hand in our building application on 928. So, in speaking with Brad, he says he's really looking at probably 2 to 3 weeks. So we were hoping at that point in time that we could actually, he said he would review the demo, and as long as we had all of our demo stuff in order, that we could actually start up the demo process. So we are hoping mid-October.
Okay. Based on that calendar, on best case scenario, would you think that a vast majority of the construction would be completed by Memorial Day of next year?
No.
No. Okay. All right. That's an honest answer. Okay. All right. No, it's just that.
We can hope for such things, but no.
I just thought I'd ask the question because that obviously there's a lot of traffic goes down during the summer months.
It does.
Yeah. Okay.
Very used to that, that's kind of what we do.
Yeah.
And when I saw this site, I've got a site that isn't even big enough for 2 dumpsters on Fine Point Road in Southampton, so this is not uncommon.
Okay. Is there any issues with the no dewatering?
Everything's above that 2-foot elevation.
Also from the planning board to replace the two groins that are in poor condition?
That's the bulkhead.
Was that the bulkhead issue?
Yeah, I think it's the groins for the bulkhead.
Easterly older wooden ones?
Yeah.
Okay, erosion control groins, 3 of them. No, I think it's groins.
Yeah, it's
Go to page 2.
There are groins, yeah, there are groins out there, yeah.
Oh,
these ones.
I
I
see.
think it is, yeah.
Yeah.
So are you gonna, sort of agree to that?
We'll look into it.
Into it?
It's a little premature to agree to it at this point, but we'll certainly look into it. And if it makes sense, then we'll come in front of the board with a permit application.
And they also said, they did say the wooden bulkhead also.
Yeah.
You've been out to the site. What percentage of the bulkhead would you roughly estimate is fairly new? Because I know when it went in just about a few years ago.
I have to be honest, we have not looked
Okay.
at that was not part of our scope originally, so we have not looked into that at all.
Okay.
But we can also I can do a quick recon and for Tuesday, let you know what we think.
Okay, yeah, just out of curiosity, was one that was 80-20 or 50-50 or, and I think most of it had been replaced, not too long ago with the plastic sheeting. And the other thing is when they replaced that bulkhead in that spot all along Peconic Avenue, we're seeing a lot of failure because the bulkhead hasn't gone deep enough. So anytime they replace bulkhead along there, that because of the wave action coming in, the southwest winds, it's just scooping that sand out. And then soil has been literally sucked in under. That's more true as you go up Peconic Avenue, maybe 1,000 feet north of this property, where those properties on that straightaway, all of them had the same situation where the bulkhead didn't get compromised. One of them did. One down the block got compromised. The upright just got smashed in half, but the other ones are just literally, the sand is just being pulled out. So anybody that's replacing bulkhead should go, exit deeper, just to make sure that you're trying to do the best you can for the next several decades, hopefully.
Any other questions? Jim Bodstrom, you have your hand up?
Yeah, hi, can you hear me?
Yep.
Yes.
Question is, who has done the secret analysis for the town, or whether it's done at all?
Steven?
You wanna,
I don't know who's doing it internally for the town.
so what did you submit?
We submitted a short environmental assessment form as part of the permit application. We had done the same thing for the DEC. I think the DEC defers to the town, I believe. I do not know. Typically, it's handled in the wetlands resolution is when the declaration is made. But I don't know what the internal mechanism is within the town.
And you got a letter of non-jurisdiction from the DEC? And this property is fully bulkheaded?
Yep.
Yes.
Yeah, well,
Right.
The town typically designates itself as lead agency for SECRA review. And I haven't seen the town ever do the analysis that is required as the lead agency. And so in this particular project, I'm wondering what the town has done, if anything. Thank you.
Okay.
So noted.
Anybody else? Okay, are we going to adjourn this?
Yeah.
I'm not going to close it, right?
Close it. I would ask that you close it.
Here's my concern, Matt. When we close them and we discuss it at the work session, then possibly some other things come up. We can't come back to you after the fact.
Well, if you close it, except for written correspondence, then I can, or anybody who's interested in the thing can submit written correspondence. The only concern about keeping it open is if we keep it open, the closest we could get, you'd reopen it on the 27th or whenever the next hearing is, then close it, and then we discuss it again, and it just keeps kicking it out. If there's something substantial or significant that needs to be added.
So let me ask you this. Let's say we close it and we open it up to written, comments. How do we get the answers to the written comments?
The written comments are not really supposed to be solicited from you. It's subject to written comment from the public.
I understand that. And let's say we get written comments from the public that they need to answer.
Correct, and you're stuck. You're stuck with those comments and you can't get a retort.
So what's the point? So what's the point of?
To further take.
Of taking written comments if you can't answer them?
No, because sometimes there's no need for an answer. It's just.
What if there is need?
That's all right. Well, and you're stuck with it. If it's closed, you're stuck with it unless you make a motion to reopen it. If based on that information, you want to reopen the hearing, you can reopen the hearing. But otherwise you're stuck. Or you could adjourn, as you said you wanted to do. You can adjourn this, look at the application more, and we discuss it at work session. If anything comes up.
I mean, I understand in a perfect world, if we close the hearing, talk about it at the work session, everything's hunky-dory, we move forward. But you've been watching for the last 2 years and you see that nothing is hunky-dory.
Perfect world, is that what you're saying?
So, I don't know. I mean, I just want to do this the right way.
If you want the ability to ask them questions and get answers, then adjourn it. If you just want the ability to.
So I'll throw this in your lap. And your lap. If we close it and this happens, you're going to lose your time frame anyway. So you're willing to take that,
Whereas if we adjourn it and we come to some agreement at work sessions, we can have the resolution handy
27th.
on the 27th, so we can
Right.
close it that day.
Right.
And
Because
pass the
to
resolution.
reopen it, if we close it, we have to do another hearing.
Right.
Public hearing.
Another notice.
Yeah, so you're talking another 6 weeks.
Amber's suggestion is, as always, reasonable. And yeah, as long as the board is, if nothing, earth shattering or, comes out of left field that creates a problem, and you're willing to close it and have the information to vote at that time. No, not, but at the next hearing.
At the next hearing.
At the next hearing.
Oh, yeah,
close
yeah.
it, and then
And act on it.
vote on a resolution,
Yeah.
just like you do mooring applications.
Exactly.
That would be
Yes.
be acceptable, absolutely.
Nothing, yeah.
Yeah.
And what's the time frame for the sequel,
Pretty lengthy.
Stephen?
The timeframe, again, if this could be, first of all, as lead agency, you got to determine whether it's a type 1, a type 2, or an unlisted. Type 2, there's no further secret review required. The construction of a house, the plain vanilla house, is a type 2. The fact that this, isn't despoiling any.
Whoa, that's not true.
You'll have your turn.
Let him finish.
If it's, I don't know if you have the regulations in front of you, Mr. Bonstrom, but if you read them, it is true that the construction of a house is a type 2 action. But however, in our code, we made a type 1 action, which would necessitate a EIS or whatever, anything that would despoil the wetlands. This particular project, they're removing everything out of the 75-foot buffer on a bulkheaded property. There's no despoiling of anything. So we got to make the determination whether you're going to consider it a type 2 action or an unlisted action, and based on the short form EAF, if there's sufficient information in there for you to pause deck it or neg deck it. If you pause deck it, then we have to do an EIS. If you neg deck it, it stops there, and we can put that in the resolution. If there are people that have concerns, we have the ability to hire, we have that outside consultant to review and help us make that determination. We don't have anybody on staff to do so. We don't have a planning department. So my suggestion is that we go over it during work session and discuss it. And if we have to bring a consultant, then we bring a consultant in. Or in the interim, I can ask, for an informal opinion from a consultant without them fully reviewing it.
Pam, did you want to speak?
Yes, good evening, everyone. I see that there's new information put forward before the board tonight about the square foot living area. You didn't have those plans and the changes in the numbers, and from the stormwater plan that you were given, the total square footage still adds up to 7,945 feet. So I don't know how taking out that part of the basement of, what are we calling it? An accessory sleeping quarters or a pool house? Which one is that? The labeling changes confuse me. And I think you need more time to take a look at this application more clearly and make the secret determination as the lead agency appropriately, according to the environmental law.
Well, we're not acting on anything tonight.
We're adjourning it.
Yeah.
We're adjourning.
Pat, did you want to respond to the square footage again?
Not in much detail, but just that, as mentioned, square foot living area is conditioned square foot space. We don't design stormwater control on that because it would be too small. The stormwater control is designed on the roof area, and that's the drawing that Pam is referring to as the roof area. So it's apples and oranges. Okay.
Okay, my other concern is that we're adding an accessory sleeping quarters building in a nearshore overlay district as well as a garage space, and the nearshore overlay districts is only allowed one accessory building allowed on the property.
Okay, noted. Accessory. Okay, anybody else? Okay, if there's nobody else, I'm going to make a motion that we adjourn this hearing.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you all very much. And we will talk about it Tuesday at the work session.
Yes.
Okay.
That was 3 Oak Tree, 3 Untitled.
Okay. Okay, the next one is a public hearing on the Sting wetlands application. Scott?
The application of Lucy Singh, 48 Lake Drive, for a wetlands permit to complete the rebuilding of a pre-existing deck that was in poor condition and removed to be rebuilt without permit, removal of existing cesspool, and install a new IA system with leaching pool.
CAC report?
Yes, please.
CAC report met in August. There are 3 recommendations for this particular application. That, number 1, move the septic tank and leaching pool slightly to the north to avoid the 100-foot adjacent vegetated buffer. Install, as indicated on C1 proposed site plan, dated July 1st, 2021, and not shown on Suffolk County Department of Health Service permit dated 4/19/2018. So that was moving it totally out to avoid the 100-foot adjacent vegetative area. Number 2, new porch steps should be constructed with environmentally approved materials. Just a small thing. Number 3, provide 10-foot vegetated buffer at the wetlands flags of native plants. Submit plan to prevent runoff from the hill. And I think that was something that they were very concerned about, and something that I think that they had agreed to put that 10-foot vegetative area in, and also to submit a plan for the prevention of the runoff going down the hill.
Tim, has Howard ever expressed what he considers to be environmentally approved materials? Because I was just kind of confused by that line. I'm not sure what it means.
I don't think he, I don't think he's ever defined that for us. But
I'll ask him.
Maybe it wasn't anything but wood, or or something.
Right, that's what I wasn't sure.
More of a metal or concrete or something other than wood.
Planning board?
Next, you got it?
I have it. So planning board noted that really the only change in the deck is that they're widening the steps by about 2 feet, but that's it. Otherwise, it's in place. They make their regular recommendation of installing the decking with a 1/4 inch to a 3/8 inch gap to allow more stormwater to percolate through. Let's see. They ask that the homeowner consider improving their rainwater collection and recharge with the installation of dry wells and piping downspouts to them, because right now the downspouts pretty much just go out into the lawn. And then they just made the note that the health department permit must be renewed because it's outdated, it's timed out. So in summary, they wrote that they recognize that the construction in the adjacent regulated area is permitted with a permit and applaud the applicant for proposing the septic tank and leaching pool installation to be outside of the regulated area. They hope that Suffolk County Department of Health will approve the slight changes, but they recognize that some incursion into the adjacent regulated area may be required. And for that reason, they recommend getting that health department approval prior to the issuance of the wetland permit, because they may need to return with a new application for the sanitary system if it's in the wetlands area. But overall, they do approve this application. They note that, it's because it's only a 2-foot change in the stairs and you're getting an IA system, it seems like a fair trade.
So they get an IA system, but the CAC says move the septic and leaching fields.
That's just a matter of where the 100-foot line is. They want it just north, just a hair over the line.
Existing, or are they gonna put a new one?
They're going to put in a new one. Right now, they only have an old, I think they only have an old cesspool.
Okay.
So they're going to put in a new IA. But that's just a matter of it going over the 100-foot setback line for the CAC.
If possible.
Right.
Okay. As it shows?
Do we want to
We have
respondents?
respondents.
I believe.
Oh, yes, yeah.
Okay. Again, Pam Demarest, she's here, she can expand on any of these if need be. Denial letter from building inspector says expanded footprint. Application from M. Sherman says rebuilt without permits, existing deck reconstructed. Application is to finish the deck already built without the approval/permits in place before the work was done. Plans seem to indicate no change in size of deck, an increase width of wood steps by 2 feet. DEC permit says remove and replace existing deck. Plan does not show any expansion. In summary, need to clarify if this is an expansion or not. The denial letter says there is an expansion. The application from M. Sherman says there is not. The SEAF declaration by the town needs publication prior to the public hearing in accordance with SECRA.
Matt Sherman, Sherman Engineering and Consulting. I'm here with Jay Singh, who's one of the property owners, along with his wife Lucy. Jay's in the audience this evening. This is a real basic, straightforward application. They recently purchased the property. The deck was in bad shape. They hired someone to rebuild it. Didn't even think about permitting, and the building department saw that it was under construction and put a stop work order on them to come in and get the permits. Took us a long time to get through the DEC freshwater wetlands applications have been moving glacially slowly. But we got through that. We got to the point where we were able to apply to the town. The issues with the septic system, when the previous owner I had contracted with to design the IA septic, we had used the information that we had on hand at the time, which had the wetlands on the pond. It didn't have the wetlands on the south side of the road, the south side of Fresh Pond Road. However, once we came back and we started looking at it from a DEC and a town wetlands perspective, we started looking around for more things because we're looking at it for a different purpose. And we started saying, okay, there's wetlands to the south of the road. Got them flagged, got them surveyed. That's when we saw that we had to shift the septic system to the north. And that's what the CAC was referring to. The inconsistency between the original health department permit, which didn't know about the wetlands in the south, and the new permits, which did know. So we just adjusted the sanitary design to account for those wetlands. We went from 2 leaching pools to 1 that's twice as deep. I prefer to actually, in a situation like this, I prefer to have more leaching pools spread out, so we've got more depth to groundwater, and it just functions better. But at the same time, 1 8-foot diameter, 12-foot pool functions just as well. So it does the job. I'll share my screen on this one as well. Okay. Yeah, okay, so. This. So this is the original survey.
Make it a little bigger.
Yeah, absolutely.
Close the sidebar, you'll have more space too.
Okay. Get that good. There we go. How's that? Close, sort of. This is the deck we're talking about. It's basically 12 feet by 24 feet. There's a 3 by 7, 3 by 7-ish, 5 by 7-ish stairs on that original. We're scaling off of this old hand-drawn survey, so your scaling is going to be a little bit off, but basically that's where it's at. It's we'll call it 3 by 7 set of stairs. The garage, the Bilco door, the small stoop up in the front, all that stuff was pre-existing. This survey was done in 92, I think it was, survey 1992. So we know that the deck existed, we know it existed prior to the wetlands code, at least as far back as 1992. This is the current survey with the new deck under construction, 12.1 by 23.9, so 1/10 of a foot deeper and 3/10 of a foot less side to side. So the deck is slightly smaller, but not appreciably so from what was originally on that original survey. And the stairs, which are under construction, they're 2 feet wider. So they're 9 feet wide instead of 7 feet wide. That's that extra 2 feet that the building department referenced in their letter of denial. But the deck is the same size, which is what I had referenced in the permit application. This survey here also shows the wetlands as they run down along the south side of Fresh Pond Road, and the wetlands as they come along Fresh Pond itself. And then this is the sanitary plan, where I've got our 100-foot wetland setback here, and then our 75-foot wetland setback just to the south and the south of it. And this is the existing cesspool, 62 feet from the pond. So we're getting rid of that. That's a win. I'm putting in a new IA IA treatment unit, and then the new leaching pool, which is going all the way out by the road. So we're getting it more than 100 feet from the wetlands to the south of Fresh Pond Road, and significantly more obviously than 100 feet from the pond itself, probably closer to 200 feet from the pond.
Great, that's great.
To the planning board's comments on storm drainage, we've got plenty of areas we can tuck in a couple of drainage pools. If we wanted to put them up here by the garage, we could do that. We could put them, I'd prefer to get them outside of that 100-foot setback. We've got some minor separation distances we have to keep from the septic. The well, as proposed, is down here in that lower left-hand corner, so we can keep away from that for any storm drains. That's not a problem at all for storm drainage.
Okay.
Questions?
So straightforward.
No, it looks pretty easy.
Yeah, pretty straightforward.
Questions in the audience? Comments? Howard?
Howard?
Yes, thank you. I just would like to mention that the environmental friendly or type of material on wood is stuff that is not pressure treated with zinc chromate or toxic chemicals to make it last longer. So you use either plain cedar, which is a good piece of wood that'll last for a long time. So I just want to comment on that. But otherwise, we
Howard.
accepted it.
Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, that was my question. I was wondering what you considered environmentally approved. I was like, is it a certain type of wood, or were there other materials that you were considering? All right, cool. Thank you.
And he just suggested other things.
Okay, Pam?
Yeah, obviously, my comment on this application is that it's incomplete if it's requiring a Suffolk County Department of Health permit to continue.
You wanna?
Yeah.
I don't know. We'll address this one. The application is for a deck. The application is not for the sanitary system. We do not need a permit from the town to take the sanitary system out of the regulated area. We don't need a wetlands permit for the town to do that. Fortunately, several years ago, the town changed the code, so that was not a requirement. The sanitary system is something that is going on that we want to do anyway. In the interest of full disclosure and making sure that the board's aware of everything we're planning on doing, that's why the sanitary system is part of this discussion. But we're not asking you for a permit, a wetlands permit, to construct this sanitary system.
Thank you, Matt.
Thank you.
Good clarification.
Anybody else? Pam, another one?
Yeah, so can the town board explain to me why the denial letter mentions that this is an expansion and Mr. Sherman is saying that it's not? It seems like it's an expansion of a non-conforming property since it predates a lot of code now.
Yeah.
2 feet. It's
Stephen?
2 feet.
The step width
Yeah,
went from 7 to 9 feet wide. That was the big deal.
Stephen, any comment on this?
No.
Anything else?
And just one other thing, has the town board made a declaration on this according to the secret law?
Again, Pam, I'll rely on what I said previously. We're going to review it and see if it falls into a type 2 action, which means no further secret is required. They submitted a EAF, which is a short form. We have to, if we deem it an unlisted action, then we go through that short form, and then we as a municipality they submit part 1, there's a part 2 and a part 3 that the municipality fills out if it's an unlisted action, which determines whether or not it's a pos deck or a neg deck. Whether or not we need assistance, technical assistance in filling that out on a case-by-case basis is yet to be determined. But the secret determination will be in the resolution of approval.
My point is that the secret declaration must be done as an initial review of any project in a wetlands area. This is what I'm trying to get the town board to understand. This is what the state law says. So this should be done prior to any review of any application as an initial step.
Where does it say that? If you can provide me the actual regulation provision, I will look at it. But if the town board needs more information and you can only get that at a public hearing talking, in making their secret determination, there's no approval. It has to be done before there's an approval.
No, it's actually mentioned in section, in town law 617 under, I believe, determination of significance, and that I cannot give you the exact number at this point. But that's where it mentions exactly how this process is supposed to take place.
I just told you what the process is. If you have something that disputes what I'm saying, please email it to me. I'll look at it. And if you're right, you're right. But right now, you don't have a specific provision, and we're not going to do this and waste the town board's time. So if you have a provision you'd like me to review, I'll gladly do it.
I'll try to have it before the end of this.
Okay. Jim, your hand up again, or is that from before?
No, I'm just echoing Pam Demarest's comment. This is part of every application for wetlands permit. Town has designated itself as the lead agency for SECRA review. You're not doing it. Nobody on the town board seems to know what the requirements are. And yeah, we'll send Mr. Kiley the provisions of the code, but I had hoped that he would know what the code provisions are.
Well, you're saying it isn't right, so obviously you tried to read it and you think I'm wrong. So please provide what you think is the right provision. You're a lawyer, aren't you?
As you are.
No, are you? And I'm not sure if you're saying you and Pam, are you a team?
Oh, don't be cute.
Okay, all right.
Okay, we'll wait to hear from Pam with the what she has. Anybody else on this one? Same thing. Do we adjourn it or we close it?
yeah.
Yeah, adjourn. Oh, no. This one you could probably.
I would say, yeah,
Yeah, this is de minimis.
yeah, that's what I think.
Okay, okay, we're gonna close that hearing.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, we're gonna open the hearing on the Townsend Wetlands application.
All right.
Scott, you have this one, Townsend?
The application of Suzanne Townsend, 27 Dickerson Drive, for a wetlands permit to renovate existing structure to include windows/doors, siding, roof, interior renovation, and a new addition of 1 bathroom, and all work to be done within existing building footprint.
Okay.
Yeah.
Howard, did this come before the CAC?
Oh, not yet, Jerry. It hasn't. It's going to be on Monday.
Oh, okay.
Okay. But, and same with the planning board then?
No, we do have.
So we have planning board.
Why?
We even hear it, or should we? just
Jerry, you
adjourn
should
it?
just adjourn it. These
So we hear from the
shouldn't be
CAC.
scheduled for a public hearing until all the reports are in. This is, we got to make sure that happens.
So we should adjourn it.
Correct.
When is the CAC meeting?
Monday.
Monday,
So we,
7:30.
You don't want to hear what we have?
I think you could,
No?
you strike the next meeting all
Okay.
together.
Because you're going to have to adjourn it anyway.
Okay. All right. Sorry you sat here all night.
All right, when is it adjourned until?
27th?
The next.
yeah, but the CAC is Monday.
Repost.
No,
No,
no, it's adjourned.
no.
Yeah, sorry about that.
Okay, so we're going to adjourn that one.
Thank you.
Thank you. Sorry you had to.
Sorry, guys.
But Ms. Reed doesn't-
On education. Okay, we're going to open a public hearing on the local law entitled Video Conference. We have a summary of this, so we.
Yeah, I'll handle it.
Okay. I'd rather have Dot read the notice. You want to just read it?
Yeah.
Whatever she usually does.
Summary of the proposed law. The purpose of this local law is to maintain the use of video conferencing technology introduced during the pandemic in order to expand public participation among all of the different layers of town government, while also ensuring direct in-person access to town officials.
Okay, I think that says it all.
Yeah, I'll give you a little summary. So pursuant to New York State Public Offices Law, Section 103-A, the law allows town board and committee members video conference in from a remote location that is inaccessible to the public as long as certain conditions are met, including that there's a quorum in person physically at town hall where the public can be present. Prior to the adoption of 103-A, the board member telecommuted in. They would have to give notice where they were telecommuting in from, and the public had the authority to go and
sit with them.
Exactly.
Are we acting on 42 Gardner's Bay, I think?
She's asking
I
that,
just-
Okay, go ahead.
So again, from a board member's home. So this changed that. However, here, you can't just, telecommute willy-nilly. The board or committee member must show a cause that they're permitted to participate remotely. They must show extraordinary circumstances, such as disability, illness, or caregiving responsibilities. Further, teleconferencing is not allowed. The public must be able to see the town official. So you can't just call it. You have to, participate via Zoom. Also, the public must be able to fully participate via video conferencing as well. So in the main, this law allows our continuation of Zoom with the added requirement that at least a quorum be physically present and those who are not be only absent due to extraordinary circumstances. For example, a vacation does not count. So it's making it stricter. During COVID, we had the ability to video conference in from parts unknown. But now, for whatever reason, now you have to be excused for a bona fide reason. And those bona fide reasons will be in procedures that we will adopt subsequent to this local law being adopted. We'll pass a resolution with those procedures. So we'll have a work session, we'll talk about them, we'll vet them, and then we'll be able to use it. So basically, nothing changes in the day of the life of a board member or a committee person, other than they have to have a bona fide reason to not be in person. The state really would prefer that all bodies be in person. These are exceptions that allow you to Zoom.
I think one thing the pandemic did was, it opened up Zoom for the public to join in without having to be here, which was great.
Correct.
But also during the pandemic, some of our, committees or board members couldn't be here because of the, COVID situation. So just so everybody's clear on this, we have to have a quorum in-house.
Correct.
And it have to be a legitimate reason for a board or committee member to be attending by Zoom.
Correct. Illness, caregiving.
So if let's say like a lot of our committees, people go away in the winter and they've been Zooming in,
That's over.
It's over?
Yes.
Okay.
Well, right now, currently they can, because we're still under that executive order.
Right.
That allows, once that is lifted,
Right.
then this is going to take over. And once that takes over, no, they have to make a concerted effort to be here.
Right.
And it can't just be, I summer in Florida.
Yeah, right.
Sorry.
Winter
So
in
they
Florida.
wouldn't be
You're
able
not going to
to,
get a quorum for WMAC.
so they wouldn't be able
Well,
to
then we have to
vote,
address it.
but they would be able to weigh in discussions as a member of the public.
Yeah, they could come in as a member of the public and the board can ask them questions.
Or non-voting committee, no?
I kind of like recusing yourself. If you're not acting as a board member, you shouldn't be there.
Well, no.
No.
No, not
I
really.
just think they lose.
You can watch, but I don't know that you can
No, they lose.
Watch and comment, but they can't vote.
to vote.
And they're treated as any other member of the public. So if the board or committee wants to ask.
But that was the
questions, they
whole
can ask them questions.
principle behind recusal. You have to leave the room because you.
No, this isn't recusing. This isn't recusing. That's apples and oranges.
No, I understand, but I'm just saying the principle is kind of the same.
No, I hear you. So.
Yeah, they can sit and listen.
But they can participate just like a member of the community could. They just can't vote on it. So they can have their opinion.
Yeah.
They can
But like the
discuss
10
it.
minutes at the end of the meeting, it won't be the full,
Well, I mean, if they're still a board member, that's what we can put it, we have to determine that.
we could determine.
So we can determine that. Are they a participating, non-voting member of the committee at that point?
Can we make it?
Or- I mean, because they might still have pertinent information and they
I
would,
would say no, pursuant to the law, they can't. They would have to just be treated like a member of the public.
That's what I'm thinking, yeah.
Because it would be an end around.
Right.
Yeah, all right.
But the crucial thing that Jim pointed out is we need to make sure committees have a quorum
Yeah,
present.
yeah.
right.
I know for a fact we have 4 people definitely that leave for like good part of the winter.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah, well.
Just not going to happen.
No, unfortunately, the party's over.
I mean, it is unfortunate.
Well, I mean,
It's unfortunate for a resort community.
Had this
Yeah,
option.
yeah.
Like where the committee's just running on fewer people during the winter, how did it?
Still have to have a
The law was
majority.
different then, right? The law was different then. We
Correct.
could do video conferences.
No, I mean, like before COVID,
Yeah, no,
they
no.
were still doing video
Yeah, because we
conferences.
didn't have Zoom, we had, what was the name of it that we were using?
Meetings or something.
No,
We
no, it
just
wasn't
do
meetings, it was.
conference calls?
Microsoft thing?
No, we had a video, like you had to show your face on the video.
Yes, yeah.
I just can't remember this, the platform that we were
Yeah.
using, but we had that, but people were participating from
Sure.
Florida, wherever.
Right.
And so that part of the law has now changed.
Gotcha.
Okay.
Okay.
And, and not show your face.
Yeah, but back then, again, you would have to, from wherever you were, there should have been public notice where they were and the opportunity for the public to go wherever they were and
Just out of curiosity.
set up a seat and stare at them.
Satellite in Florida, is that what you're talking about? Satellite off?
Just as an end around strategic kind of thing. So you have a WMAC. Is there a possibility you go from 7 members to 5, knowing that you have 3 that'll be here all winter? and then ask the people to come back and reinstate the two people after the fact and go back to
That
seven?
is
Well, I'm
an
just,
end run.
well, I said, I used the term end run when I started the conversation. I'm just asking you.
Yeah,
I will have to, we'll have to figure out what we.
yeah.
You're gonna have to discuss that.
Yeah.
That this is step one in this process.
Right. It is tough on, I mean, I thought the hybrid was working.
I did too.
You know, I'm sorry that the other government has taken this tact. I just think they're gonna lose some good volunteers.
Yeah.
It's gonna happen.
Especially seniors.
Yeah.
That
Yeah.
are not, retirees that are volunteering their time.
Right.
To serve.
Why is it so important that
If it
they,
becomes a big issue with our committees, can we petition the state?
Good luck.
Well, okay, so first thing, I understand like zoning and planning are different because they're paid, they're appointed by the state. But our other volunteer committees like CAC and WMAC, they don't get paid. Can they have a different?
No, they
set?
fall in the definition of a public body, so they
Okay.
they have to comply with this.
What if we don't adopt it?
Don't adopt it, then nobody can zoom in ever.
will be on the front page of the Post, Shelter Island goes rogue.
Again,
Nuance.
it's allowing people under extraordinary circumstances to.
Right, to still participate.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right.
Any comments from the audience on this one? All right, we're going to close that hearing and reopen our town board meeting to act on the Labrosi application
Video conference.
and video conference.
All right, so we're not going to do,
Because we adjourned.
right.
And you have the additional resolution on scallops.
Yes, I have that.
Do Labrosi?
Yeah, sure.
I got it. I mean, I'm just reading the.
Yeah.
Yes,
Yes. Whereas Mark Labrosi, 9 Alpha A Baldwin Road, has petitioned the town of Shelter Island for permission to install a stake mooring and pulley system in Cockles Harbor at a location designated as latitude 41.0884 degrees north and longitude 72.3237 degrees west. Whereas the public hearing was duly held on the 7th day of September 2022, for all interested persons to be heard in favor of or in opposition. Now therefore be resolved that the town clerk is hereby authorized to issue a permit for the aforementioned installation. So moved.
Second, all those in favor?
Aye.
Sewell.
Do you want to do the video conference?
Yeah.
Do Sewell.
Oh,
So we
No,
adjourned.
we're just going
oh,
to.
that's right, that's right.
Whereas a public hearing was duly held on the 7th day of September 2022 in the Shelter Island Town Hall, Shelter Island, New York, on a proposed local law entitled video conferencing. And whereas all interested persons were heard in favor of or in opposition, now therefore be it resolved that the local law number 9-22 entitled video conferencing is hereby adopted as follows. And again, I'm not going to read the whole thing, but the summary is: the purpose of this law is to maintain the use of video conference technology introduced during the pandemic in order to expand public participation among all the different layers of town government while ensuring direct in-person access to town officials. So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
For luck.
Okay.
I have the Cornell Cooperative one, so you want me to read that one? Whereas Cornell Cooperative Extension, CCE Marine Program, has approached the town to propose the establishment of a small scallop spawner sanctuary pursuant to their Back to the Bays initiative, whereas in connection, there with a 20 meter by 20 meter area will be marked with corner buoys and closed off from harvest to spawn approximately 40,000 scallops, thereby increasing their chances of survival. Whereas the town board is desirous of partnering with Cornell Cooperative Extension to support their efforts in bolstering the health of our bays, now therefore be it resolved that the town supervisor is authorized to execute any and all documents in connection with CCE Scallop Sanctuary Program, subject to town attorney approval of same and site selection. So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Right.
Okay. So we'll open it up to the public now. Any questions or comments? Julie, you have any questions?
Nothing for me, thank you.
Okay. Anybody else? Pam?
Okay, the section of the law is 617.3, section A.
I'm looking at it now. I don't see what you're referring to. I look at 617-3, not dash, .3C, an application for agency funding or approval of a type of unlisted action. I know she said A, but I don't think it's applicable. An application for agency funding or approval of a type 1 or unlisted action will not be complete until a neg deck has been issued. Again, if we're deeming any of these actions type 2, no secret is required. If it's an unlisted action, after we do a part 2 and a part 3, and we deem it a neg deck in writing with reasons, then it ends. If it's a pos deck, then they have to go through the whole full-blown EIS. So as I said, we're going to bring in a consultant when we have questions whether or not it's a type 2 or an unlisted. And if it's an unlisted and we feel we can't answer the part 2 and part 3 of the EAF, we will ask for assistance.
Okay, thank you. Anybody else? Kim?
Yes, in any event, you have to publish your findings. The town has to publish their findings under secra. You're not doing it. We don't know what your rationale is.
I just, if you were listening to me, I just said that we put it in the resolution. We make that determination and be put in the resolution.
Have you done that?
It's not complete. These hearings are open, sir. We didn't approve anything, so there's no resolution. Yeah.
Well, it's kind of hard to have a public hearing when the town hasn't taken a position on secra, hasn't published their findings on secra.
If you understood what secra is, the purpose of secra is to
Don't
environmental considerations into the town board's decision making, and that's what they're doing during the public hearing, right? They're getting more information.
No,
So
I'm sorry, say that again.
If you'd like to have this conversation offline, I'd gladly have it with you.
I'd prefer to do it in public, on the public record, because my position is that the town is.
You're wrong. Kim, you're wrong on secra, and if we keep going down this.
Yeah, 3 minutes is up.
Okay.
Oh, thank you, DJ.
We'll look into it and have a response.
I'm here for Kim.
Okay. Anybody else?
My 3 minutes.
Have a nice night.
Yeah, you too.
I'm going to make a motion.
Oh, second.
So moved. Thank you, everybody.